Welcome to Let's Play Gran Turismo 3, episode 49. Alright, so the first half of this championship is now cleared, and officially, now is the time for us to move on to part 2 of this championship. And so, at the moment, I have pretty much been in total control of this championship, and Super Speedway, I'm pretty certain that is guaranteed to be an easy win. And as you can see there, I'm pretty much double the points of the second placed car up to this point in the championship. And as of which, I am still pretty confident in saying I can probably win at least 8, maybe 9 out of 10 of these races. But at the moment, it is more or less looking good for me to officially go onwards to winning, maybe, and I do hypothesize this, but maybe win 10 out of 10 races because of how easy this has been. Also furthermore, we are doing 10 laps around Super Speedway, and where I am pretty certain this is probably going to be another unquestionable W. Might even be able to overlap the entire field if I really wanted to, but again, I don't want to push myself ahead of the game too soon. Anyways, this has actually been closer than I thought it was going to be, because all of us are literally fighting hard at the moment here at Super Speedway, because even though I'm able to get the interval through the corners, these AI are able to catch back up to me down the streets, because oddly enough, these AI often tend to use the high line and then suddenly drop down to the low line, and that's exactly why I always manage to win here at Super Speedway. Because even though this is an egg-shaped oval, the truth is, the only reason why I do manage to win here is effectively because I do not move around as much in the corners as the AI do. It's simple as that, really. Anyways, 2.3 seconds, the gap now to the Supra, and everyone is really fighting for position at the moment, because it looks as though at the moment there really is no clear-cut winner over who will officially finish in second, but since I have now pretty much flown away from the rest of the field, I can say overall victory is pretty much more or less going to be mine, and it wouldn't completely surprise me if I do manage to win 10 out of 10 races because of how easy this championship has been up to this point. I am now halfway home in this championship, and tyre wear at the moment is not proving to be too much of an issue, but again, it will surprise me if I do manage to get to the end of this race without seeing my tyres pretty much being worn down. Also furthermore, I now set a new fastest lap, which oddly enough is one thing I did not expect myself to do. yep, that is definitely a new fastest lap by 0.3 of a second. I set another new fastest lap. And where it looks like victory up to this point is in the bag. As for everyone else, they are still duking it out for position, is what he thinks. Anyways, 2 laps to go now here at Super Speedway. I am pretty much 4 seconds cleared of the Denso Sard Supra, because this is an oval, and officially heading through these corners once again to starting off what is probably going to be both 10th and final lap here at Super Speedway, as the Pennzoil Nismo GTR officially comes into the pits, so obviously his tyres must not have been able to go the full distance. It's unfortunate for him, and hopefully up to this point nobody else will have to pit. And I did anticipate something like this might happen eventually, and it doesn't look like anybody else is going to come into the pits. So the Pennzoil Skyline pretty much a lone ranger in the pits. Meanwhile for me, it is 6 wins in a row. And all I have to do now is wait for the Pennzoil Skyline to finish. As of which, that is exactly what I am going to do. Actually no, I'll keep this thing on record. I mean, it's not too far away from the finish line. And also furthermore, the Arta NSX has managed to avoid finishing last in every race as a result of that pit stop. And there is the Pennzoil Nismo GTR finishing 39 seconds behind me, and effectively overall, if there was one more lap, I would have easily overlapped him. Anyways, these are the updated points now, as it is pretty much 6 wins to me, and still 0 to the AI. And officially, up to this point in the championship, I can now pretty much say I am more or less clear from the rest of the pack, and all I really need to do now is consistency, and officially it looks like the championship has pretty much been balanced out up to this point. Also furthermore, I'm still yawning. Anyways, race 7. God, I am so tired. Okay, hell. Why am I still tired? well, I can pretty much say results in the championship up to this point have pretty much stabilised, and as for this race itself, I would probably say it's going to be 7 wins in a row for me, because arguably this probably will be a clean sweep the way this championship has gone so far. And since there will only be 3 races to go after this one, I would imagine victory up to this point in the remaining races is looking more or less like a certainty if I can just keep everything clean, and hopefully if I do not show any signs of overconfidence, then I would say victory in the remaining races is more or less the likely candidate. I'm also pretty certain I'll probably surpass 1 million by the time I've collected my championship winnings, because I already have over 900 grand, and I'm pretty certain I will not be far from 1 million by the time I've completed this championship. Oh shit! I almost oversteered into the gravel trap. But fortunately, I did manage to catch the thing before the gravel caught it, and all I can really say up to this point is that I would say this will certainly be where victory is not a denominator. And I'm still yawning. I do not know why I shifted down into first. But again, I had a feeling the chicane was going to catch me out eventually, because, oddly enough, since there hasn't really been any reason for me to concentrate on this race, I've just more or less been fucking dozing off into nothingness. Well, since nothing major has officially been happening during the race itself, I've basically just been dozing off into nothingness. Just making my body feel like it's probably numb enough to fall back to sleep again, or something. That's probably what it is. Although fortunately, at least, since my college year is already complete, and yes, I did mention before that I am a college student, I basically have pretty much all summer to focus on getting through pretty much most of this game, even though there will be times where I'll have to focus on other things. Anyways, I win race number 7 by under 5 seconds, and in spite of the little error I had at the chicane on the previous lap, I was able to capitalise on that error and eventually just extend my lead. So the double podium this time for the Nissans. The Toyota finished in 4th, and then at the back it was the 2 Hondas. Although, I really don't think this is going to change the championship too much, or at least the course of the championship, because I'm pretty much double the score of everyone else up to this point. Well, I should probably say over that by now. And at the moment, there is still quite a tussle going on for second position. Meanwhile, I would imagine the rest of the results up to this point have pretty much stabilised. And officially, 7 racers are down and still 3 racers remain. Yeah, don't mind me, I'm just stretching my arms so I don't fall asleep. And here we go, it is now time for race number 8, which takes place at Grand Valley Reverse. And just so I don't completely doze off, I'm going to have a sip of water. Right as the race starts. If you did hear anything from the plastic cup I'm using, I do apologise because, you know, basically because I've been dozing off into nothingness, I just felt like I was needing some water to keep me motivated and keep me moving, and at the moment I'm off to a terrible start. Because I really fucked up my crap at the start. Meanwhile, at the front, I'm now overtaking the 2 NSXs. The Alta NSX at the moment is currently ahead of the other Raybrugg NSX, but meanwhile, I am pretty much engaging myself into the fight, making a little bit of contact with the Supra in the process, and having to forcibly take second position away from the Pennzoil Skyline. Also getting a bit of oversteer in the process, because this thing is rear-wheel drive, and the Supra is not willing to give away the lead. And somehow I pulled off a pass in the grass, as they call it in NASCAR, because even though I was sliding on the exit of the hairpin, somehow I still managed to take first position in the grass and notably hold on to the lead for the exit. I have no idea how I managed to hold on to that, but I guess I did. Anyways, I held on for the lead, and I am now back into the lead by just over a second. Officially, I am now 2.3 seconds clear of the Supra up to this point, and it looks like it's going to be from this point onwards where I manage to extend my interval to the rest of these AI. Because oddly enough, there has been no clear-cut winner for the positions recently, because the positions pretty much race by race have been constantly changing. So it's been interesting to see who officially has the upper hand. Here, of course, in the remaining races of this championship, but meanwhile, at the moment, I'm still pretty much extending my lead. Also, furthermore, another thing I really like about the reverse course is the fact I'm saying that this course literally has, I think, a sunset scenario on the reverse course, even though it could be dusk, which is essentially the morning sun, but it is nice to see that, at least on this course, like with Laguna Seca and Deep Forest Reverse, that we're able to get the sceneries of the sunset views up in the sky. I actually really like that. I have got to be honest. I actually, you know, really like those features with those scenarios. And this time it's the Raybrig NSX who takes away second position from the Supra. So this could very well be a 1-2 finish for the Raybrig NSX. For the two Raybrig NSX models, considering obviously he is basically my clone and he has been scoring nowhere near as much as I have. Considering up to this point, the championship has officially been a clean sweep. And oddly enough, I did expect this championship to be easy from previous experience, but I didn't expect it to be this easy, from what I can remember. Because at the moment, I am more or less continuing to decimate the opposition. And oddly enough, this is one word I rarely get to say. At least if you're asking me by the terms of beginner and amateur league standards. This is one thing I can assure you I definitely did not expect to happen by this much, because I knew it was going to be easy, but I didn't think it was going to be this easy. Literally piss easy in my honest opinion. Because I'm now leading this thing by under 7 seconds. And also furthermore, it is nice to see that here at Gran Valley Reverse we actually have a 1-2 for the Honda Raybrig NSX models at the moment, because I'm running in first position and the other one is currently running in second. But again, the Supra manages to fight back. But again, it'll be nice to see a double podium for the Hondas, you know, because that is something I would like to see, but I don't think he's going to take 4th position away from the Pennzoil GTR because... sorry, 3rd position away from the Pennzoil GTR because I would imagine up to this point that position has already been secured. Meanwhile for me, I would say, without any needs for legislation, I would say victory up to this point is pretty much more than likely to be mine. Where hopefully this time I will remember to save this replay, because I do not have a replay saved at Gran Valley Reverse yet. And I figured this would be the perfect opportunity for me to do that. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Anyways, final lap here at Gran Valley Reverse, and where for probably the 8th time in this championship out of 8, I am officially going to clinch W number 8, or in other words, win number 8. And I'm pretty certain that this effort will probably move my win ratio back up to possibly 82% if I can sweep this championship. Because I'm pretty sure that probably will happen, at least I think it will. Anyways, coming through the 3rd tunnel now on the reverse course and entering another hairpin complex, I think this is, and now heading downhill into the hairpin under the Bridgestone and Polyphony signs, going round the slightly banked downhill hairpin and now heading back up the hill and cutting the course just a little bit there, but don't think it's any cause for concern up to this point, and heading through the final hairpin turn to completing both the 5th and final lap here at Gran Reverse, where I am pretty much looking more than likely to secure a victory, and along with it I also set a new fastest lap by over a tenth. And yo, the Roybrig NSX duo has clinched first and second. Let's fucking go. 1-2 for the Roybrig NSXs. Then it was the Denso Sard Supra in third, followed by the Penso Nismo GTR. The Arta NSX finished in 5th, and then at the back it was the Loctite Zaxel GTR. So, these are the updated point standings, as of which the Denso Sard Supra pretty much looking more than likely to clinching second place up to this point in the championship if he keeps the consistency going. And I think the Roybrig NSX, as a result of finishing second here, has pretty much secured 4th position in the championship. And as for the rest, well, I really don't know. And just before I forget, because I know for sure I'm probably going to forget, I'm going to save this replay. Because obviously this is a 2-part championship, and I figure that's the only way I can remember this. So 8 races down and still 2 races to go, and where I am going to have another sip of water before we get started with the penultimate race of the All Japan GT Championship. Hopefully that should be enough to keep me awake, and yeah, let's do this. Really isn't anything else I can say up to this point, except hopefully managing to possibly win 10 out of 10 races, which I would say there is a possibility of me saying that I probably will sweep up the rest of these races as long as I don't bottle it. And already at the moment we are having quite a tussle going for each of these positions, and as for me, once I get past the Arta NSX, which I do, I am pretty certain the only thing I really need to think about now is seeing if I can maybe, and I do hypothesize this, but maybe see if I can go and get the clean sweep for this championship. Because no positions at the moment have officially been decided. Although, at the very least, I can say the Roybrig NSX is closing up on the Penzance skyline. And plus, furthermore, the Supra is just behind the GTR, so obviously I wouldn't have thought of there to be too many challenges for the honours of silver in this championship. Meanwhile, at the moment, the Roybrig NSX models are leading first and second here at Route 11. And there it is, going to take me just over 2 minutes to complete the first lap. one lap down and still 4 to go. Because there are no formation laps in this game. Unless you would account for the endurance events, then I suppose in some cases you could say that is essentially a rolling start. Now the Supra does manage to take second position away from the Honda Roybrig NSX, and it looks as though the Pentel Skyline is probably going to finish third in this race, because I would imagine both of those positions by now have been taken. And considering after this we only have one race left. I am hopeful in saying that I can manage to get myself a reasonable car for the GT World Championship, because, well, I wouldn't mind that being the case. Anyways, up to the line we go once again, to completing lap number 2, and where I was literally just under 10 seconds quicker on the second lap, and where I'm pretty certain this race, if I can set my laps within 2 minutes, I will probably finish this race in somewhere under 10 minutes. Even though that is just an estimation. So, not really thinking of much to say at the moment, except for saying I'm just dominating these races, basically. Sorry, I really cannot think of anything else to say at the moment. So I'm just going to let you watch my total control of this thing, because I'm pretty sure that is what will happen. I do apologise if I'm not saying much at the moment, but again, because this championship is not really too difficult to get a perfect score on, I would probably say this will end up being an easy W for both me and my Roybrig NSX, as I once again set a new fastest lap for the third lap in succession, and I'm now 6 seconds clear of the Supra. And that's a wall. I was going to say that I'm consistently going faster and faster, but obviously, because I got caught out by the guardrail that was on the inside of that curb, obviously, that's essentially what elapsed my concentration. Anyways, coming through Sector 2 now, as of which I'm pretty certain there are 4 sectors around this circuit because of how big it is. And I would say a win is more or less a certainty up to this point. since I have of course now been playing this for probably more than 1.5 hours by now, methinks. Alrighty then, so we are now coming through to start both our 5th and final lap here at Route 11, and officially doesn't look like anybody's going to be making a pit stop. And all I really need to do now is just hold on to the interval. Furthermore, yes, for once I am actually driving a clean race here at Route 11 because I am not using the walls. And furthermore, no, that was not intentional, that was completely by accident. And yes, I am trying to see if I can improve on my PB, and at the moment it does not look like that is going to be the case. But again, victory, I would imagine, up to this point, is pretty much guaranteed. Once I clear these final few corners and I don't bottle it. So entering the 3rd sector and now coming through the chicane, as of which I'm now 7.5 seconds clear of the Toyota up to this point in the lap. Doesn't look like it's going to be a PB, but doesn't matter too much because I still win anyway. And so for the 9th time running out of 10, I have once again decimated my opposition. And it looks like that is pretty much going to be the final finishing order for the championship overall. So, pretty much 90 points to me, and then I think it's 44 points to the Supra, from what I can tell. Yes, it is. Then it's the Pennzoil Skyline in 3rd, followed by the other Roybrig NSX in 4th, the Loctite XL GTR is 5th, and at the back, with a relatively even score of 12 points, is the Arta NSX. The one car which was close to beating us in the GT All-Stars and is pretty much last for most of the races in this championship, and yes, I do have a replay saved. Anyways, let's move on to the 10th and final race of the Amateur All Japan GT Championship, and it takes place here in Tokyo, and where I would say there is a likely possibility of me saying I'm probably going to sweep this championship. And this will officially be only the 2nd time where, in this game, I have managed to sweep up a 10-race championship. Unless you would account for the beginner GT World Championship, because, well, that too was pretty easy. But officially, we are now starting the final race in this championship, where I would say, amidst all of the concerns of competition, I would imagine the championship positions up to this point have pretty much been settled. think mathematically I clinched the championship probably 2 races before the final round. So effectively, as long as I don't bottle this and I do manage to get past the Penzol skyline, I would imagine that officially a clean sweep is probably going to be the likely prosperation. I think that's a word, prosperation. But yeah, anyways. Since I have had to deal with no such adversity for the majority of this championship, I would pretty much say up to this point I am pretty much guaranteed to make this a possible clean sweep, as I now lead the first lap, and I would imagine it will not surprise me if I manage to lead every other lap. So I think by the time we get up to the end of the final lap, I would say a clean sweep is a likely possibility, as long as I don't bottle this. So it looks as though both myself and the Penzol skyline have pretty much spread ourselves out, but as for the rest of the field, there is quite a tussle going on over who is going to be where in this championship. But officially, 3 seconds is the margin now to the Penzol skyline. Then I think it's the Supra that is running in 3rd, ahead of the Roybrig NSX. Then I think it's the Arta NSX that is at the back, whilst the other Roybrig NSX is fighting the Loctite Zexel GTR, methinks. Anyways, back of course to my race, and where I can pretty much say there is a likely possibility for me to sweep up this championship. Considering this will also be the first time since the Altezza race in the Amateur League where I have officially swept up pretty much all the races in the championship, which oddly enough I have actually done more times than lots of people would have expected me to do, but yeah, you know, it's just the way it is, I guess, is the only real bottom line I can think of. Anyways, try not to yawn too much over how rather quiet this race has been for me, but I can more or less say that overall there is not really much else I can do up to this point besides just hold on to the lead. And also scratch the back of my forehead. Right, so starting the 4th lap now here at Tokyo, as I am now leading by 5 seconds heading through sector 1 of the lap, and officially I'm looking more or less likely to make this a clean sweep. So up to this point in the race, I can probably say that a clean sweep is more or less guaranteed by the time I start the final lap, probably. Because overall, my championship has pretty much looked flawless, and now the Supra does manage to take second position away from the Pennzoil skyline, as I expected him to do. So, I'm pretty much going to be double the margin of everyone else by the time I've won this race. From what I can work out, I will pretty much be double the points margin of everyone else by the time this race is done. So here we go, final lap of the Amateur All Japan GT Championship, and where I am more or less going to make this a clean sweep. And yeah, that's all I've really got. Sorry, I cannot really think of anything else at the moment besides that. So, championship domination continues, and no, to me, domination is certainly not forbidden from these races, considering obviously that's exactly what I've basically been doing, and as I expected, an easy championship, and furthermore, a championship easy enough for me to get a clean sweep. And as long as I don't spin the car down the front stretch, I'm pretty certain this is going to be a clean sweep, and indeed it is, along with a new fastest lap to compensate. So there we go, I won by pretty much 4 3/4 seconds over the Denso Sard Supra, who was officially half the points over my overall score. Then it was the Pennzoil GTR in third, followed by the Loctite GTR in fourth, and then at the back we had the two other Hondas in this championship. And so these are the final point standings, whilst it is officially a clean sweep for me once again. The Denso Sard Supra, as I correctly predicted, is half the points of me with 50. Then it is the Pennzoil Nismo GTR in third with 42 points. The Raybrigg NSX eventually finished 11 points clear of the Loctite GTR with 33. And then at the back with 13 points is the Arte NSX. So I think it's fair to say who is the clear-cut winner, as I have pretty much swept up all 10 races in this championship. And I now have less than 1 million. And there we go. That is done. And yep, I do have a replay saved. Just needed to check again to be sure, and now it is prize car time. Also, I have these needles in my right foot, but whatever. 150 grand for winning, and we definitely have over 1 million now. And let's see what prize car we win from this. Are we going to win something good? And yes, we do. We win the Toyota Denso Sard Supra. Let's fucking go. Basically the car I doubled the score on in this championship because of my flawless performances. But there we go, it is official. I have swept up all 10 races in the Amateur All Japan GT Championship. And as of which, I officially have just the car I'm going to use for the GT World Championship, which is coming up next. And as a result of that, my win ratio has officially moved up to 82%, and I am now 41.7% complete with this game overall, and this is our prize car. A Toyota Denso Sard Supra GT. Pretty much the same car that I beat pretty much in every race, officially. But overall, this thing is still cool. And I will admit, this is a nice car to win. For a 10 race sweep. So you know, that is something. And it's pretty much the car we're going to be using for the GT World Championship. Anyways, I'm done. And so, there we go. That was the Amateur All Japan GT Championship, and next time we shall be doing the GT World Championship in the Amateur League. And so with that, stay tuned for more of Gran Turismo 3.